I think it's a perfect essential.
Do you have a big favorite scene in this movie?
I definitely think my favorite cinematic scene is when they're creating the Bride of Frankenstein with the electricity and all the shots and angles, you know, are going on. But I think one of the scenes that also delighted me so much in the movie is when he reveals the miniature people he's created. The ballerina and the mermaid and the little king and queen. I'm just like, this is such a great ride. This is such a beautiful little film. This is so great.
One interesting thing is one of the little people he created is Henry VIII. And yet Henry VIII was, you know, the character that won Charles Laughton the Oscar. Charles Laughton married to Elsa Lanchester. I think that was not by accident.
No, I don't imagine it was.
Yeah, and I also love Ernest Thesiger, who played Dr. Pretorius. He's got one of those faces that you can't forget, and you know you're in a horror film if he's there.
Totally.
You know, I looked it up. He was 57 at the time. He looks like, you know, he's 129.
You wouldn't want to meet him in a back alley.
And the way they have the shadows and the way he talks and everything.
And his nose.
Yeah, it looks mad as a hatter.
And I love the things that, you know, like the man in the cabin.
That's the one problem I have with this movie.
Oh, really? I love it. Robert hates it.
No, I don't hate it. But if you've ever seen Young Frankenstein, where Mel Brooks does a parody of that sequence, it's very hard to see it as it was meant to be seen, because it's a very sweet scene and very tender scene, and everything kind of gets crossed up, which Mel Brooks satirized so wonderfully in Young Frankenstein. But having laughed at it, it's very hard for me now to see it without getting a chuckle in that.
Well, I love that. And again, if I ever get this job again, we have to do Young Frankenstein.
Yes.
It might have even been on my list this year. I don't remember. We have to talk about Young Frankenstein because that's, you know, one of the most brilliant incarnations of Frankenstein ever.
Yes, we have some good stories about that, too.
Oh, good. Oh,
yes,
please.
Indeed. Good. Now, have a look at our essential selection for next week. How Green Was My Valley? 1941. The sets in this movie are very impressive, very real.
Maureen O'Hara's performance makes you feel her yearning.
This is one of the best non-westerns John Ford ever did.
This is a film that tackles such heavy issues, but does it with such a tenderness.
In 1941, How Green Was My Valley. That's next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find out more at TCM.com. Thanks for joining us for The Essentials.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, Boris Karloff is wrapped up in Zita Johann in The Mummy. Then Simone fears she'll become one of the Cat People. And Bela Lugosi reanimates the dead in White Zombie.